Hello friends, welcome to BN by IAS. Let us look at all the important articles from the perspective of UPSC which have appeared on 20th July 2022 in the Hindu newspaper. The articles that we are going to cover today are, the one is related to India-Sri Lanka bilateral relations and ongoing issues in Sri Lanka, and second one is related to the citizenship, the ways of losing a citizenship, then the RBI's role in managing the rupees exchange rate, and then CAG, the report on spectrum prices, then UK records its highest ever temperature and its implications due to climate change and the ongoing forest fires. So all these we will try to analyze. Then the Google Maps and how it can be used. The recently Railways has used these to allocate the exam centers. So we will try to use that. Then GST. See, we have seen yesterday and day before yesterday, GST was in news because there were some changes that were happening from 18th of July, particularly with respect to the ones which are in the fifth 5% tax slab, that is the food goods. Okay, so we will see the queue from there. Then next is with respect to the recently released new national emblem which was placed on the new parliament, and here we will see the background as well as what are the modifications that has happened and implications. Then finally we will understand about another concept called P notes or participatory notes. So let us look at these articles. The very first one is three-way contest for the post of president in Sri Lanka. See, this contesting and everything is not important, but what is important is India and Sri Lanka bilateral relations. See, here we need to look at the history of India and Sri Lanka bilateral relations. We have people to people contact and cultural relations. So the relations between India and Sri Lanka goes back to centuries, from the times of like even Sangam age, and the role played by India and the interests of India with respect to Sri Lanka and their implications. See, all these are important for IR section, which is your GS paper 2. So we need to look at the background and the help given by India. See, during these times also, we have continuously provided our support for the country when it is facing the severe crisis. We have helped with respect to the food as well as fuel, and we are always there for our neighbor. See, this goes with our neighbors first policy of foreign policy, neighbor first. So all these points can be included and the implications can be analyzed here. So that is what is important for this particular one. We will have a detailed discussion on this one because it is going to take bit longer time. That is the reason why we are not covering here entirely. But these are the things that we need to look at, like the background and the ongoing tensions in Sri Lanka and the implications of them when looked from the Indian perspective. So these are all the things. Now moving on to the next article. See, this is with respect to the loss of citizenship. Recently, to a question, the Ministry of State has answered that over this year almost 1.6 lakh Indians have given up Indian citizenship. Now what are the provisions for giving up of citizenship, and यहाँ पर और क्या कवर करना है? देखो, citizenship is dealt in part 2 of the constitution from article 5 to 11 of constitution part 2. Now here the constitution does not specify what are the ways and all. It has given its given the role to the parliament to decide with respect to the citizenship. Based on that, parliament has passed a law which is called Citizenship Act 1955. See here, parliament has given the details about how to acquire the citizenship and how to lose. See, acquiring के लिए 5 methods है. What are they? By birth, by descent, and by naturalization, by registration, by incorporation of territory. And for losing, there are there are three ways by which one can lose the citizenship. What are they? By renunciation, What is the meaning of renunciation? If any citizen of India of full age and capacity can make the declaration renouncing his Indian citizenship. And by termination, see, this is when somebody voluntarily acquires the citizenship of another country, then their citizenship in India will terminate. See, we have only single citizenship. India does not allow multiple citizenships. We have only single citizenship. Okay? And then third thing is by deprivation. The deprivation means the compulsory termination of Indian citizenship by the central government if the citizenship is obtained by fraud methods, or if the person shows disloyalty to the Constitution of India, or if the person traded or communicated with the enemy during a wartime. So these conditions are given. If they are done, then it will be compulsorily terminated. So these are all important for prelims as well as mains purpose. Okay, so go through it. Next, the next article is RBI helps rupee to study after 7 sessions of lows. See, यहाँ पर the floating exchange rate which is managed by the central bank, here in this case RBI, that is important. See, we follow managed floating exchange rate. What is the meaning of it? See, we allow exchange based on the market forces such as supply and demand. However, whenever there is an imbalance, the central bank, that is RBI, is going to intervene and artificially fix that, either by buying or selling the dollar. Okay, so that is how the rupee is stabilized. Otherwise, if it is falling constantly, then what RBI does is, say, when does a rupee falls? For example, if there is a lot of demand for dollar and we are buying more dollar from the rupee, so the demand for dollar increases. As a result of it, rupee is going to be declined. Under these conditions, what RBI does is it sells dollar and buys rupee. So that increases the value of rupee against the dollar and stabilizes it. Similarly, if otherwise is happening, then the same ulta wala reaction, where the dollar will be brought, so that will reduce the rupee value. So this will be done in order to maintain the stability, and this kind of mechanism is called managed, because it is being managed by the central bank. That is the reason why it is called managed floating exchange. Okay, so this is the type what that we follow. Now going ahead, the next article is CAG flags lack of spectrum price review for captive users. See, here we need to understand what are captive users and the role of CAG. See, CAG ke upar we have already made one video, please go and watch it. See, CAG is the constitutional authority to safeguard India's integrity with respect to the financial matters, and he is the custodian guardian of public purse. Okay, please remember this. Now, he is a constitutional authority, this body, and it independently works, and it holds the executive accountable to the parliament by auditing. It does audits and submits the 3 kinds of reports that I have already made. Just watch that video. Now here we need to understand what are the captive users. See, simply a captive user or a private captive 5G network, it's basically network set up by the private entity for the purpose or for the use of just one organization. Such users, we call them as captive users. Like we can compare it with the same, that captive mines और captive coal mines concept जो है, उसी के साथ आप लिंक कर सकते हो, उसके साथ कंपेयर कर सकते हो. Similarly, when a particular band is or a particular spectrum is given to a private use to an organization, that can be called as captive users. तो यहाँ पर issue क्या था? There were some issues with respect to the price of this spectrum. So that is the reason why this CAG report came. It can be utilized for mains value addition, where we are writing about either the spectrum, that is the allocation of the spectrum such as 5G, or if we are writing about the role of CAG, in those 2 locations we can use this information. Moving ahead, the next one is UK records its highest ever temperature. See, the implications of it can be used in GS paper 3 or GS paper 1. where we have geography or environment sections. See, UK records its highest ever temperature. As a result of it, what are the implications? There are deadly wildfires in France, Greece, Portugal, Spain, etc. As a result of it, lot of forest cover, we are losing it. And second thing is, see, this is giving to a situation of heat wave in Europe, and this is the visible damage that is created by the climate change, which is induced by the global warming. See, all of these are confirming that the issue of global warming and greenhouse gas emissions is more, and we need to act immediately to reduce the impact of it. Okay, so this is where you can link it with the ongoing efforts of either COP21, that is Paris Agreement, or COP26, the latest Glasgow summit, and going towards the carbon neutrality. So these are all the need of the hours. Otherwise, what is happening? See, suppose if there is this increasing wildfires because of the increasing temperatures, that will lead to forest fires, which will further release carbon dioxide, which is going to further increase the global warming. So it goes in a chain manner. That's the reason why we need to act immediately and reduce the carbon emissions. Okay, and further, because of increasing temperatures, we need to increase the space cooling, that also releases certain harmful gases, greenhouse gases. So these are all linked. Okay, so we can use this information. Say, this is the first time UK has recorded highest ever temperature. So this indicates that the extreme events or extreme weather conditions are happening, and they are going to further increase because of the global warming. So this can be used in order to indicate the impact or the implications of the global warming. Now, moving on to the next one, railways turn to Google Maps to allot exam centers. This is a good step where we can use the technology for governance purposes or ease of life of either students or individuals. See here, what railways is doing is it is using the Google Maps. See, whenever we are filling the form, it can ask the location of the candidate or the location which they are filling. So based on the location or the district which they are filling, based on it, the exam center will be allocated within the 300 kilometers of the home. See, this is a good step because of course, when we are going for any competitive examination, if the exam center is far away, it will lead to some of the tensions and timely reaching the exam center plus accommodation and then other hospitality issues. But if it is nearby to home, we can have those, so that will have a positive impact. So this decision is good. Earlier what it used to do, it is to randomly allocate the centers. So some people used to get even centers which are more than 1,000 kilometers far from the home. So that is reduced here, and this is a good step. It can be implemented in other exams as well. Now, going ahead, the next article is all states agree to GST changes on food items. See, we have seen the changes that have happened on the GST and background study of GST with the 101st Amendment Act and 279A article, which has set up the GST Council, which is chaired by the Finance Minister. All these things we have covered. Now, what is there in the news? Recently, 18th July, so certain changes have happened, certain things have been brought into the 5% slab, and certain goods पे 12% से 18% तक बढ़ाया है, certain goods पे 12% से 5% तक कम भी किया है. So these changes have happened. Now, with respect to these changes, some criticism came, particularly with respect to the food goods. जो unbranded food goods जो था उस पे 5% का जब टैक्स बेस पे लेकर आया है, many people criticized it. But यहाँ पर जो explanation दिया है, that is by the finance minister, is that in the best interest and saying that this is to reduce those leakages in the tax. And see, even before the GST regime, before pre-GST regime, there were states which were taxing these food articles which are unbranded, which are unpacked. For example, यहाँ पर पंजाब का example दिया है. Even before implementation of GST, Punjab used to tax and collect more than 2,000 crores on food grain. So similar. So this will give us the extra tax revenue and it will reduce any kind of leakages that are happening. क्योंकि ये वाला provision को बहुत सारे even the manufacturers are using the loophole in this particular provision, and they were selling their food articles like either loose or unbranded packing. So in this manner we were losing certain tax revenue that can be checked here. And one more thing with respect to this, it is not a like single decision of the central government, rather it is the based on the consensus from all the states, because we have GST council where the even state members can also participate. See, this goes in lines with the fiscal federalism. Please remember this, try to use those things. So that's the entire discussion on this particular change. Now moving on to the next one, this is with respect to the national emblem which has been seen. So you can see it in GS paper 1 or GS paper 2. GS paper 1 में particularly art and culture, where we talk about Mauryan art, ठीक है, Buddhist art, Mauryan art, the contributions of Ashoka, because he is the person who has constructed many pillars, many rock edicts, ठीक है. So in which one of the pillar is Sarnath lion capital pillar to indicate that first sermon, ठीक है, धर्मचक्र परिवर्तन sermon of Buddha, इसको इंडिकेट करने के लिए ये वाला कंस्ट्रक्ट किया है. सी द फीचर्स ऑफ इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर आर्ट एंड कल्चर. जैसे ये जो होते थे मोनोलिथिक होते थे, so that means only single stone से बनाया गया है, and the structure of it like it has the pillar, the base, and then base lotus and abacus, and then this is called capital figure. See here there is like if you see the original one, there is a crowning element which is called dharma chakra with the 24 spokes. Now this is it, and यहाँ पर कुछ features देखो, जैसे highly polishing of it, and then the monolithic nature of it and pillars and all of them. See, इसको modify करके this portion after modification has been adopted as the emblem of national emblem of India, ठीक है, with Satyamev Jayate. Now this is with respect to the background which can be used in GS paper 1, that is art and culture. Now coming to the current issue, what are the main reasons why it is in the news? See, recently the new emblem has been like open for the public, and यहाँ पर कुछ changes देखा है. जैसे for example ये नया डिजाइन किया वाला में you can see that the fangs are being shown here, but पुराना वाला जो था, जो ओरिजिनल वाला, उसमें fangs नहीं है. तो ऐसे कुछ चेंजेस जो किया है जिसके वजह से क्रिटिसिज्म आया है कि देयर इज अ चेंज एंड इट्स ए आउटरीच. Now on the basis of it, like we can do the critical analysis of the same, but however more focus has to be given to this background, क्योंकि यहाँ पर यूपीएससी में अगर क्वेश्चन भी पूछा है तो मे बी दे मे फोकस ऑन दिस the pillar construction and the art of Mauryans and their contributions. So this is all about it, and the adoption of the same, like January 26, 1950, the lion capital of Ashoka officially became the national emblem of India with certain modifications. So this is all important for this particular one. Now moving on to the next and the last one, that is investment via P notes drops to 80,000 crore roughly. So now here what is important is we need to know about P notes. एक बार UPSC ने prelims में question भी पूछा है what are P notes करके, and mains में we can do the analysis of or implications of P notes. First of all, let us understand what are the P notes. P notes का full form होता है participatory notes, and they are like issued by registered foreign portfolio investors like FPIs. So it's a kind of FII, foreign इंस्टीट्यूशनल इन्वेस्टमेंट. एंड यहाँ पर क्या होता है कि जो भी इन्वेस्ट करना चाहते हैं, इट्स ए ऑफशोर डेरिवेटिव इंस्ट्रूमेंट. जैसे आउटसाइडर्स लाइक दोस आर नॉट इंडियंस और एनआरआईज जो है, लेट्स से नॉन इंडियंस, दे इफ दे वांटेड टू इन्वेस्ट इन इंडियन institutional investment, so then what they can do is they can buy these P notes from a registered foreign portfolio investment, and that registered foreign portfolio investor जो है, it doesn't have to provide the details of this to SEBI. See, this FPI जो है, it is registered with SEBI, the Security Exchange Board of India, which is a regulatory body. But however, this does not provide the identity of this person. So without giving the identity, you can hold your investment, you can put your investment into the foreign institutional investments. So that is the advantage of it. Now it is offshore derivative, and it provides liquidity to the investor as they can transfer the ownership by endorsement and delivery. And another thing is there is an anonymity, like there is no need to provide the identity, there is no need to disclose the identity of actual investor. So as a result of it, many people do prefer to invest in this. but इसका कुछ नेगेटिव implications भी है. नेगेटिव implications में ये आता है कि ब्लैक मनी जो है उसको यहाँ पर इन्वेस्ट करने का ज्यादा चांसेस है, and it can be used for terror funding other purposes, and even it can be used to destabilize the economy of a particular country. क्योंकि जो FII होता है, it is a volatile in nature. Like the people who invest here, they can take their money when they find fruitful returns. So all the money can be taken out of the economy, which can be a shock to the economy. So these are all the negative implications. I hope this is useful. If it is useful, please like and share. And one more thing, please give your opinion in the comment section. If you want any other things to be covered, please put it in the comment section. I'll definitely cover it. Thank you very much for tuning in. See you tomorrow with the news articles of tomorrow. Till then, take care. Bye everyone.